Alright, boys, it's your boy here back with part 2 of predicting all 32 NFL teams' schedules. We are on the Minnesota Vikings now. This is part 2. Sorry about part 1. I know I said I would do it all in one, but I just got too carried away. So we are going to do this part 2 now. Here we go. Week 1 at home, first the Green Bay Packers. Now this is Minnesota. So at home at MMT Bank Stadium, US Bank Stadium. Sorry, US Bank. I'm going to give it to Green Bay. Now, week 2 in Soldier Field in Chicago, first Chi-Town. I'm going to give this one to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, week 3 in Tampa Bay, first the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm giving this one to Minnesota. Now, week 4 against Miami. This one's going to be a win. Week 5 against the Saints in New Orleans. This can be a win. Now, week 7 against the Colts in Minnesota. This will be a win. Now, week 8 here against the Lions in Ford Field, Michigan, by the way, in Detroit. I'm going to give this one to the Lions. Now, week 9, here against the Bills. I'm going to actually give this one to the Bills. This one, we're gonna lose. I think we're gonna lose against we're gonna lose against Green Bay. Now, here against the 49ers in week 11. I'm going to take this as a W for us, or for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, week 12 against the Falcons, against ATL, I'm going to take that as a W. Now, week 13 against the against the North Carolina Panthers, or South Carolina Panthers, or Panthers, North Carolina, whatever. I forgot what it was. South Carolina, Carolina Panthers. I'm just going to take that as a W. Now, week 14 against the Patriots here. In New England, I'm going to take this as a loss. Now, week 15 in US Bank Stadium in Minnesota, I'm taking that as a W. Same thing with I'm going to give this one to the Commanders, actually. And then here is the Jets. This is going to be a win. Now, and you know what? I'm gonna give it this one. I'm gonna give this one to the Minnesota Vikings as well. So I predicted 11-6 for the Minnesota Vikings, which I think at this point, yeah, they would be able to make the playoffs with that record. Now, let me do. Who else do I have to predict? Did I already do Miami? Well, we got New England. So, here we go with New England Patriots. Hold on, boys. I gotta do something. Okay. Alright, boys, I'm back. I just had to do something. But, week 1 against the reigning Super Bowl champs, I'm going to take that as a loss for New England. Week 2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going to take this one as a W. Because, honestly, I think the Patriots have a, decent line around them. Actually, hold on. Or, no, I'm going to keep it that way. And then, week 3, against the Jaguars, I'm going to take this as a win. Now, week 4 against the Buffalo Bills. This is their first meeting. They will meet again in week 13. So, with that said, I'm going to be taking the New England Patriots over the Buffalo Bills. Now, week 5 here against the Raiders. I'm gonna take the New England Patriots. Now, here against the Jets, I'm taking the New England Patriots. Now, here against the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. I am honestly going to take the Chi-Town Bears on this one. Now, here in Week 8 against the Miami Dolphins, I'm taking the Pats. Now, here in Week 9 against the Cheeseheads, I'll just say that I'm taking the Cheeseheads. Now, here in Week 10, I'm gonna give it to us. I'm gonna give it to the Pats. Now, here in Week 12 against the Chargers, I'm going to take this one as a loss. And then this one's gonna be a loss as well. And then here in Week 14 against the Minnesota Vikings, I'm gonna take New England. And I'm gonna take the Chiefs over this one. Take the oh wait, nope. L and then W. So I predicted 10-7 for the New England Patriots. And I think is that realistic? Yes, it definitely is. Losing to the Chargers, the Bills, winning against the Bills once and losing to the Bills once. Which is not that bad actually. So now we will be predicting to New Orleans Saints here. Oh God. They got a tough schedule, I would say. Week 1 first, the Lions here. I'm taking the Lions. Week 2 first, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm taking Baltimore. Week 3 against the um Las Vegas Raiders. I'm taking Vegas, and same thing with ATO. Same thing with Minnesota. Same thing. That's gonna be a loss. Now, here in week number 9 against the Browns. So I predicted 0-7 for the first half of the season now. Here against the Browns, I'm gonna give them a win. Here against the Browns. Now, here against the Carolina Panthers, win. Now, here against Chi-Town Bears, loss. W, loss, W, loss, and loss. So I predicted 4-13 for the New Orleans Saints, which honestly is not that bad for New Orleans, but for the rest of the league, it's not that good. So now we have the New York Giants here to predict their schedule. Now, they got. I mean, it's not a hard schedule. It's more leaning towards the E. No, just kidding. It's kind of a hard. It's kind of a hard schedule. All right, let's just get into it. Week 1 here against the Cowboys, but this is in New York at MetLife Stadium. So I'm gonna take Jackson Dart and New York Giants. Now here in SoFi, I'm taking LA Rams. Now in MetLife again, I'm taking them. Cardinals W. Now in the Commander Stadium. Honestly, I'm going to take the Commanders on this one. New Orleans Saints, this is gonna be a W. And then Texans, I feel like this will be a win. Now, here against the Eagles, first meeting, by the way, I think, or no. Is it our first meeting? Yeah, first meeting. I'm taking the Eagles. And then I'm going to take the Giants on this one. So we are 6-3 at this season. Or at this half. Now, week 11 against the Jaguars, I'm taking the New York Giants. Week 12, same thing. I'm taking the Giants. Now, week 13 against the San Francisco 49ers. I think, honestly, that's going to be a hard-fought game. I'm going to give the 49ers that game. And then, Did we play the reigning Super Bowl champs at all? No. But I'm gonna give the Super Bowl champs a win. And then here against the Browns, I'm gonna give it to New York. And here in Week 16, I'm gonna give it to the Lions. And then here in Week 17 at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, I'm going to give it to Dallas. Now, here against the Eagles. Or actually, you know what? No. I'm going to give this one to us. And then loss against the Eagles. So, I predicted 10-7 for the New York Giants. Which is definitely not bad. But now we will be moving on to the New York Jets. Oh my god. A team that almost could go 0-17. Almost. I'm gonna take the Titans. Week 2. There's really no discussion. Yeah, I mean they started off 0-9. And I mean they continue to lose. I'm just going by this one pretty I'm just going to buy this one pretty quick because it's our second meeting. Yeah, I mean, I predicted 3 and 14 because they don't have enough. They don't. They really don't when it comes to them. But when it comes to the New York Jets, they just don't have the power yet. Now, Philadelphia Eagles. Hold on, wait for it to all load. Okay, it's loaded in. Now, Week 1 first, the Commanders. I'm gonna give this to Eagles. Week 2, that's a gimme. Week 3, that's gonna be a hard fought game, but I'm gonna give it to the Birds. Now here against the LA Rams, I'm giving it to LA. I'm giving it, and then week 5 against the Jaguars, I'm giving it to the Birds. And then week 6 here against Carolina, I'm giving it to the Eagles. And week 7 here against the Dallas Cowboys, which mind you, this is our first meeting or their first meeting, so I'm going to give it to the Eagles. Now here against the Commanders, we won against them at home, but I'm gonna give it to them since they're home. And then Giants, I'm gonna give it to us. I'm gonna give it to now Pittsburgh Steelers here. Pittsburgh. Honestly, I'm giving it to us. And Cowboys, I'm gonna give it to us. Cardinals give. And I believe this is our first meeting with the reigning Super Bowl champs. But I'm giving it to the reigning Super Bowl champs. W. And then giving and giving. So I predicted 13-4 for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is definitely not bad for them. But it's still not. Well, it is actually pretty good for them, actually. So now we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you guys don't know, if you guys know Yo Boy Pizza, he is a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So, hey, I mean, Yo Boy Pizza, if you come across this video, I just know. I don't know. I don't know. But this will be my honest opinion. Now, Pittsburgh, week 1 first, ATL. Atlanta, here in Pittsburgh. I'm going to give it to Pittsburgh. Now, against the Pats, New England. In New England, I'm giving it to them. Now, I'm giving it to the Bengals. And then I'm going to give it back. W. Loss. W. And then loss. So we're 6-3 to start that. But now, here we go to week 11. Loss. W. W. With this, I'm gonna go with W. 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 And then loss. So I predicted 11-6 for the Pittsburgh Steelers here, and which is definitely not, which is actually pretty good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we have who do we have? San Francisco. Oh God, I mean they have a pretty tough division, and they have a pretty tough schedule. I mean they have to play the reigning Super Bowl champs twice. They got to play LA twice. They also got to play. Who else do they have to play twice? It's not the Cardinals, is it? Or is it the Giants? I forgot. Who was in their division. So I know LA Rams is. I know reigning Super Bowl champs is. But who else is? The Commanders? No, it can't be. I have to play this team twice. So hold on. Let me scope this out. So no. Surely that has to be a third team. I forgot it. Alright, let's just move on. So week 1, I'm gonna give this to LA. Because I mean they beefed up their defense with that Myles Garrett trade a few weeks ago. And in week 2 against the Dolphins, I'm giving it to San Francisco. Week 3 against Cardinals, I think Jeremiah Love could develop, but not that quick to where they would be able to run all over him. So I'm gonna give it to him. Now week 4 against the Denver Broncos, I'm giving it to Denver, and then they're gonna lose to the reigning Super Bowl champs. Then they're going to win against Commanders, win against ATL, win against Las Vegas. They're going to win against Cowboys. Now week 11, they're going to beat Minnesota. Week 12, they are going to lose to the reigning Super Bowl champs. They are going to beat New York Giants. They are going to win against San Fran. Win against the Chargers. Now, win, loss, and a win. So I predicted 12-5 for the San Francisco 49ers, which is definitely pretty good for the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. So now we have the reigning Super Bowl champs. Team that, a lot of people have been waiting for. The reigning Super Bowl champs. Okay. Now, week 1 here against the Pats, against New England. I'm giving it to the reigning Super Bowl champs. Same thing with the Cardinals. Now, with the Commanders here, honestly, I'm going to give it to Seahawks. I'm going to give it to the reigning Super Bowl. And then same thing with week 4, week 5. Now, week 6 here will be a hard game. So that's why I'm going to give it to Denver. And then I'm going to give it, and then I'm going to, get the momentum back against the Chiefs. And then once we play, and then when they play Chi-Town, they're going to win. So win those next 2 games. Now we're at the bye week. Now we go on to play the San Francisco 49ers in week 12. Here's the thing with San Fran is I think honestly they're going to win. So reigning Super Bowl champs are gonna win. Win. Oh wait, nope. Win. And then now here against the Philadelphia Eagles. They're gonna win. Then they're gonna win against LA. Win. and then I'm gonna give it to them. So 15-2 for the Seattle Seahawks here. Now we have the last three teams. We got Tampa Bay left. Then we will have Tennessee and Washington. So here we go with Tampa Bay. Week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincy at Paycor. I'm going to give this one to Cincinnati Bengals. Now, here in week 2 against the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to give it to Cleveland. Here against the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going to give it to Minnesota. I'm going to give it to the Bucks. Now, week 4, I'm going to give it to the Bucks again. Now, week 5, I'm gonna give it to him. Now, week 6, here against Pittsburgh, I'm going to give it to Buccaneers. ATL. W. Well, Lions. I'm gonna do a win for that. So, win here, and then now we go on to play the LA Chargers. LAC. I'm going to give it to LAC, and then Baltimore is gonna get a win, and then they're gonna get back, and then same thing here, bang, and bang. So I predicted 10-7 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is pretty great for them. Now we have the last and final two teams: Tennessee Titans and Washington Commanders. Let's get it on with the Tennessee Titans. Let's get it. Now, here in week 1 versus the Jets, I'm giving it to Tennessee Titans. And here in week 2, I'm going to give it to Philly. Week 3 against the New York Giants. Sorry, Giants. I'm giving it to the Giants. Week 4 is gonna be it's gonna go to Baltimore. Week 5 now. Week 5 is, I think, honestly, I'm going to give it to I'm gonna give it to Houston. Now week 6, I'm gonna give it to Tennessee. Now week 7, I'm gonna give it to the Browns. Week 8, I'm gonna give it to Cincy. Week 10, I'm gonna give it to Tennessee. Week 11, I'm gonna give it to Cowboys. Week 12, I'm gonna give it to Jaguars. Week 13, I'm gonna give it to Commanders. Week 14, I'm gonna give it to the Lions. Week 15, I'm gonna give it to the Tennessee Titans. Week 16, I'm gonna give it to Tennessee. Week 17 and 18 are gonna be both losses, so they're gonna go stuck at 6 and 11. Sorry. Now the last and final team, the Washington Commanders. Here we go. Now, week 1 versus the Birds, the Philadelphia Eagles. That's gonna be a loss. Week 2, I'm gonna give that to W. Week 3. Now, this might be one of the most toughest divisions in football, by the way. Just saying. But week 3, I'm going to give it to reigning Super Bowl champs, and then week 4, give it to give it to the Washington Commanders. Week 5, I'm going to give this to Giants. Week number 6, I'm going to give it to the San Francisco 49ers week 8, I'm going to give it to Commanders. Week 9, I'm going to give it to the Rams. Week 10, I'm going to give it to the Commanders. Week 11, loss, W, 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 W. So those 4 straight W's. Now here against Minnesota, I definitely do think Commanders could take this. And I'm going to give it to them. And I'm going to give it to them here. And then...
Hello?
Huh?
Wait. Hello?
And then I'm... Week 18 is going to be... I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. So, that is my part 1 and part 2 of the schedule release or the schedule predictions on NFL Perry Pick'em. So, thank you for making this possible. Not sponsored, by the way. Thank you for making this possible, NFL Perry Pick'em. I will see you guys in another video. Peace.